When I hear Lakers family, the entire organization comes to mind. I think, this organization really does treat you like a family.
When you talk about family, family is one who can lean on each other, can always depend on each other, no matter what's going on.
When I hear Lakers family, just think culture. Think about how everybody here kind of takes care of each other.
You stick together no matter what happens. You have one another. When things get tough, you stick to the family.
This place is a family-oriented place, not just, in our organization, but the fans.
We are nothing without our fans. Hopefully we continue to make you guys proud, but it won't be the same until we see you guys there again with us, helping us become victorious every night.
Lakers fans, you guys are our family. We can't wait to get you back in those seats to cheer us on.
Welcome back to another episode of Lakeshow's finest Redux. I'm your host, Charles Ryan, KB24 status, Kobe24, MP3, or yours truly, the biggest Lakers fan in the world. I can prove it. Unfortunately, the last few days I have not been proving it because I did not recap the last two games. On back-to-back games, I will try my best to recap each one, but sometimes it just makes sense to recap both of them at the end of it back-to-back, like these last two. But I want to apologize. Should have done those. I didn't. You guys saw after I posted the first podcast of the day, probably like 11 videos in 12 days. So I'm not burned out. I just didn't do it, and I'm sorry. And it's not that I forgot. Obviously, how can you forget? It was just, I don't know, just stuff came up, personal stuff. I'm looking at the games, chart for the day, and it's so funny because, it goes location, LA, officials, Mark Davis, Nate Green, Derek Collins. I like Mark Davis a lot. And then the attendance, and it just is 0, and it's just so weird just saying 0, that's it. It's just so weird seeing, like, they actually keep track of every single game attendance. Like, you can go back to games in 2013, it'll say how many people attended, what game, what happened. You can see the breakdowns, everything all in one place. You just Google the name and the date, and it'll still give you the attendance. So from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I'm going to Google this game, for example, and say that's the game that KCP went off or something, and then I'll see the 0, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's right. 0. Los Angeles Lakers, 2-2. Interesting first 4 games. It looks like the NBA is trying to be nice to us by having mostly home games to start the season, which is good. Their premier product, they want them to be fresher out of the gate, get us momentum going, because let's just be honest, the NBA isn't rigged, but there's some element where if LeBron James, in these final 3 years that he has with the Lakers, well, quote-unquote final, the end of his contract is 3 years, if the NBA can spin a narrative that LeBron James wins 3, he passes MJ with 7 rings, wins these next 3, that will change the game forever, because officially the torch, the baton has been passed to the next greatest, and the league would like that. And LeBron James has obviously brought a lot of money to the league, but tonight was no shortage of that. LeBron played great. Sloppy game, tons of turnovers, tons of unnecessary turnovers. I thought Schröder was fantastic, but he himself had several turnovers that are really stupid and annoying. A couple bounced off his legs out of bounds. A couple just lost the ball and gave up. He had let's see how many turnovers he had. Schröder had 2 turnovers. I don't think that's accurate at all. In fact, I'm going to go to ESPN just to double check that they have the same amount of turnovers for Schröder, because it seemed like he had way more. Only 2 here. Interesting. Well, the point is that it was really sloppy, and I'm still trying to figure out how you can get such a big lead and then just give it away so fast. And we were up by 40 points versus the Timberwolves. I believe we played the Timberwolves the other night. And we built a huge lead out of the gate. Kuzma went frickin' nuts, and KCP was going nuts. I think Kuzma hit 2 threes in the first quarter. And, went downhill. Couldn't maintain it. AD had a weird game. AD played really, really well on all facets, except for his scoring efficiency. He did shoot 6 for 14, almost 50%, but he had so many clankers and ins and outs. And one time he hit a shot off the side of the backboard on a little gimme 5-foot jump, a little hook shot. But yeah, if you play 38 minutes, you'd expect more than 14 shots from AD. And it's not like when someone has 14 shots and they score 40 points, you would assume that at least 15 of those points or so came from the free throw line. He only shot from the free throw line twice all game. That's it. But yeah, strange game. I love Schröder, what he got. You keep hearing this extension talk stuff. That'd be awesome because we have AD for the next 4 years, LeBron for the next 3 years, KCP for the next. I'm talking about the year after, after next year, after this season. You have LeBron for 2 more years, you have AD for 3 more years, you have KCP for 2 more years, and you have Kuzma for potentially 3 years with this player option. If you could have all those guys be synced up in unison, those 5 players of KCP, Kuzma, LeBron, AD, Schröder, that's a starting lineup right there. They can lock up Schröder for 3 or 4 more years. Bam, that's your team for the next 3 years at least. And then you need to work and factor in Montrezl Harrell. This is the last year of his contract. He's opting out next season of his $10 million. I believe we have his bird rights. If we don't, I think he'll come talk to us first. Should we go far in the playoffs or win the championship? So that's your core, right? Your core is LeBron and AD and Kuzma, right? You can say KCP there, but you can lock up Schröder. It's nice to have KCP, but that'd be a huge, solid 4 core: Schröder, Kuzma, LeBron, AD, looking to the future. That's like, remember the core for the Warriors, the 3 or 4 was, remember, Steph, Clay, KD, and Dre, or just Steph, Clay, and Dre. And then the rest, they just figured it out later. They got players through the draft. They worked them into the system, like Jordan Bell, who's out of the league now. They found pieces like we're finding Taylor. We don't have a lot of money to spend, so we got Taylor. So Schröder tonight proved just there is something there. The whole offseason, all I heard, I hate saying the word we, all I heard was Dennis Schröder say, I want to start, I love Kobe of the Lakers, and he's kicking ass. 24 points for Dennis Schröder. 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 2 turnovers in 36 minutes. He shot 50%, 8 for 16. He shot 7 free throws, right? But he got fouled way more than that. He was going into the basket more aggressively than LeBron was at some points. And LeBron only got 5 free throws too. Hopefully that doesn't carry over where the best player in the world only gets 2 calls a game at the 2 of the charity strike, because my goodness, that guy gets hacked a lot. So yeah, Schröder was awesome. Weird game from AD. LeBron was awesome. 29, 9 and 6 with 2 steals, a block, 3 turnovers in 36 minutes. He shot 55%, 11 for 20. He shot 3 for 7 from 3, which is pretty good for LeBron at 43%. He had that forced 3-point shot at the end of the game that would have gone in, would have changed everything. But, I like what I'm seeing. There's just so many minutes to go around. Caruso was hurt, right? That opened up opportunities for more Wes Matthews. For extended minutes for Harrell at 27-28. Taylor got 10 minutes. That might be the most minutes he's gotten in these first 4 games, maybe. But Taylor played well, man. He had 6 points, shot 3 for 6. Missed a couple wide open threes, but still, man, all these guys, Montrez, Wes, Markieff, and Taylor, those are the 4 plus Caruso off the bench. And let me tell you something. These guys come up big when there's minutes to be filled. Because I hated it last year when AD would be out because he got hurt, or LeBron would be out, and just be like, AD do it all, LeBron do it all. Well, obviously now our roster's reloaded, and it's been reloaded since we acquired Dennis Schröder a month or 2 ago, but to see it in action, to see a guy who's, 6 feet, 6'1", attack with just trying to do some smash mouth, kill you basketball in the paint. And at least 10 of his 16 shots were at the rim. And Nurkic, Kanter, totally taking CJ and Trent Jr. Off, just taking them off the ball and just sprinting past them, putting his head down. I mean, it's great. It's great. So KCP played well. I have KCP in fantasy when he made his first 3 threes or 4 threes in the first quarter. I was going nuts there, and then he cooled off, only 14 points. Gasol, 19 minutes. I think we're gonna get used to that. Obviously he's a little older. I think he's like 36, something like that. Looking up real fast. But 20 to 25 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, it seems that's where we're going to keep him at, even with a guy in our rotation out. They gave the rest of the minutes to Montrez, not to Mark. Mark's 35, turning 36 next month. Actually, in exactly 1 month, the 29th of January. Wes Matthews, he took 2 threes, both wide open, totally missed everything on both. But yeah, our bench was such a negative. I mean, at the end of the second quarter, in the fourth quarter, we went back to that starting lineup. All were positive, except for LeBron, which was 0. And our whole entire bench was negative. Kuzma, negative 23. Montrez, negative 20. West, negative 16. Markieff, negative 10. Taylor, negative 9. Of course, Taylor has the least of the negative, because that's who Taylor is, man. Does all the good stuff. But yeah, Wes Matthews' defense is a little bit better tonight, but I like what I see. 2-2 isn't a big deal. I think they went 0-1 last year, or 1-2 or 2-1 the Lakers did, and they won 16-17. I don't know if that's going to happen now, but it's just that they're so deep, and it's embarrassing to an extent when the Blazers perform better off the bench than we do. They had 45 points off the bench. We had 20. And Montrez, only 9 points. Kuzma, 6. West, 2. Markieff, 0. Taylor, 6. Gary Trent Jr. off the bench had 28 points. Single-handedly outscored our bench. So it's kind of ironic saying that we're way deeper than them, yet their depth performed better than us, even though they went 3 deep off the bench, and Carmelo Anthony was missing. Okay, so before I get to the Blazers, let's talk about the team stats. So overall field goal percentage, the Lakers shot 47. Blazers shot 46.7, so pretty much both 47. 3-point percentage, we were 10 for 27 for 37%. The Blazers were 16 for 46 for 35%. The Blazers were 0 for 10 or 1 for 13 in the beginning from 3, and then Gary Trent shot them back into it, so they got lucky there. Otherwise, without Gary Trent, it would have been a blowout in that second quarter when Gary Trent brought them back. Free throws, we've been doing a little bit better at free throw line this year so far in the young season. 15 for 18 from the line for 83%. While the Blazers were 13 for 15 for 86%. We had 41 rebounds, they had 45. They had 27 assists, we had 20 assists. It does not seem like they had 27 assists because everything's off ball with them. Created off ball, or just create it yourself with CJ or Dame. But it's a lot of just running off picks, a lot of moving without the ball with them, or just solo up. Or once they catch it, they dribble it out. So I don't know how 27 assists came from that, but I guess so. Blazers had 9 steals, Lakers had 6 steals. Blazers had 6 blocks, Lakers had 5 blocks. We had 15 turnovers, Blazers had 10. Fast break points, both at 16. Points in the paint, we had 52. Blazers had 40. Fouls, we had 14, they had 16. The largest lead was 13 by us, and then 8 by them. And their 8 largest lead was the final score, 8. But yeah, Dame led the way with all scores, 31 points. Other team stats. Here we go. Yeah, there was 5 lead changes. The longest run was 15 by the Lakers. We went on a 15-0 run in the third quarter, I believe. But yeah, this is a tale of every other quarter. The Lakers went up big in the first quarter, they went up by 12. In the second quarter, Blazers went up by 8. Third quarter, we went up by like 9, and then the fourth quarter was all Blazers, and they won by 8. Second chance points, we had 16, they had 8. Yeah. Most blocks, Marc Gasol. Most blocks for the Blazers, Derek Jones Jr. with 3. Most assists, 11 for CJ. I have CJ McCollum in my fantasy, so those assists really help out. LeBron with 6 assists, AD with 10 rebounds, Enes Kanter with 14 rebounds. And Enes Kanter, all he did was rebound. Man, Nurkic played like twice the amount of minutes, and Nurkic couldn't get anything done. All right. There is the team stats. And let's go to the Blazers. So, the Blazers. Only 3 players in negative. One was Dame Lillard, who may have finished with more points than CJ, but CJ, I'd say, played better with 11 assists and 3 steals and a block. And had 2 turnovers. Well, Dame had 5 turnovers. Robert Covington, Nurkic, -5. Okay, so Derek Jones Jr., his only job was to defend LeBron. He did fine. He had like 1 nice block on him. But 36 minutes for Derek Jones Jr., 5 points, shot 1 for 9 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3, 3 for 4 from the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 blocks. Those are 3 nice blocks. 1 turnover, 4 fouls. So he had the most fouls of anybody on the Blazers, and those are all on LeBron. Robert Covington, also on my fantasy. 38 minutes, 2 for 9 from the field, 0 for 6 from 3. 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, and 4 points. Nurkic, 5 for 7 from the field for 10 points, 0 for 1 from 3. No free throws, was not aggressive. 12 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal. Nurkic was 0 for 1, Covington 0 for 6, Derek Jones 0 for 5 from 3. That's 0 for 12 from 3 from your 3 through 5 players, and then your 1 and 2 players, CJ and Dame, collectively were 8 for 21 from the 3, which is pretty good. Sorry about that. Which is pretty good. It's probably like 40%. But yeah, Dame started really slow, and then of course he heated up and killed us in Dame time. CJ McCollum, 20 points. 36 minutes, 7 for 22, shooting for 31%. 3 for 11 from 3 for 27%. 3 for 3 from the line. 3 rebounds, 11 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, 2 turnovers. Dame Dollar. I'm trying to do this little rap thing. Dame Dollar sign. I sound like an idiot. Okay, 36 minutes. 10 for 16 from the field. 5 for 10 from 3. 31 points. 1 foul. 5 turnovers. 1 block. 5 assists. 4 rebounds. On the bench, the only person we don't really talk about is Gary Trent Jr. In 23 minutes, he had 28 points. That's insane. 10 for 14 from the field. 7-11 from 3. Made 7 threes, 1 of 2 from the free throw line. He was better percentage-wise from 3 than the free throw line. 3 rebounds, 1 assist, no turnovers in 23 minutes. Yeah, apparently the Blazers only had 9 turnovers. I don't buy that for a second. We had 14. I don't think that's accurate. The ball was everywhere. There were so many stretches where literally the ball just was bouncing all over the court and nobody could keep possession. But those are the stats. Quickly touch on the last podcast. It's just interesting how I can post a podcast and one can get 500 views and then another one, like the most recent one, only has like 25 views. I don't know what happened. Maybe I did something wrong. Who knows? I posted a teaser podcast, or like a trailer, like a week or 2 ago, and it has like 100 and something views, which is nice. I like 3 digits. That makes me feel good. 3 digits. I have a handful of videos with 6 digits, so maybe one day. But, I mean, if I'm only get 25 views in one podcast, that's crazy. But hopefully you guys stick it out. I think 1,400 subscribers, something like that, so hopefully 22 of 1,400 do not stay the same there. That's the podcast. I do like what we're seeing. I do think Timberwolves game real fast was a very weird game. We kicked their ass. Very strange seeing D'Angelo Russell in a Wolves jersey like last year when he got traded. that guy that the Wolves drafted, Wiseman, whatever, he looks fine. The other game that I didn't recap was the Mavs game, the Christmas game. No. I did recap the Mavs game. Hold on. No, I recapped the Clippers game, not the Mavs game, not the Christmas Day game. The Mavs game, another blowout game. It was very reminiscent of the way the Clippers lost yesterday by 50-something, I think, to the Mavs. And then we almost beat the Baz by like 30. So, but then on the same day, because the Lakers played the second game at Staples Center that night versus the Wolves yesterday, we were up by 40. So there's some weird like 3-circle like blowout thing going on there. If that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. But that Mavs game was cool. I mean, we came out big. Luka was awesome per usual. But I'm really keeping my eye on, for the Mavs, this guy named Maxi Kleber, filling for Chris Porzingis. I think he'll be something, but he wasn't that game. But I had him on fantasy. I got rid of him again, but I've had him before. But that was an interesting game. It really was. We just took it to them. We won every single quarter by points. So I really thought that same mentality was going to go into that went to the Timberwolves and Mavs. Then went into this game versus the Blazers, which looked like it. And of course, I mean, you knew Damian Lillard was coming because he didn't have that many points. And then all of a sudden, he just exploded. But we've seen it before, of course. All right, once again, KB24 status, Kobe24 MP3. Or yours truly, the biggest Lakers fan in the world. Thank you for listening. Take care. And go Lakers. Peace.